Live. How's everybody doing today? Before we get too deep and introduce our amazing guests and co-hosts today, just hit us up in the chat. Let us know that you could hear us and see us, because that's super important. Because I would love to or hate to like stream for like 20 minutes and then people be like, "Oh, we can't hear you." But anyway, I hope all the wonderful people are doing amazing. So we are here joined by our amazing co-host Trisha Cat, which she does amazing Twitter Spaces. So if you didn't know Strapi has Twitter Spaces, go check him out. Like Strapi does amazing talks. Trish knocks it out of the park every time we do the talk. How are you today, Trish?
I am doing well. So this is my first time on the community call. And
Awesome.
hello, everybody. If this is your first time seeing me, I am Trecia Cat, the developer advocate intern at Strapi, and I'm excited to be here today and to share amazing stuff about Strapi's new release. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm really, really excited. Then we have Maddie here joining us. He's been a longtime community member. So it's really awesome to have him on. So can you give us a brief intro and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys for having me on the live stream here. Yes, I think I've been around for a couple of years now in the community since the alpha days, I would say, and always been in the Slack and the Discord. You probably know me as a moderator on the forum or on the Discord, or I have some community packages where I've been working on. I'm a Strappy Star officially. Currently, we are working on the community organization as a lead to see how we can figure it out. So yeah, been out there in the community a while now, and finally putting a cam on my face, being here on the call. So I'm happy to be here. Yeah, thanks.
No, it's great to have you, and we'll definitely have to ask some questions around the STAR program, because I think it's pretty cool that people are able to participate. So anyway, this is our October community call. Let me share the slides so we could take a look at what we're going to talk about today. Really excited as always. And by the way, I see everybody saying hello in the chat. Great to have you all here. I hope everybody's doing wonderfully. But we are going to talk about the community call. And so first, we're going to talk about on the agenda for today, what's been happening, what's new in Strapi 4.4.0. We're going to talk about community showcase and Q&A, roadmap updates. I left them the slides here. We're still trying to confirm a few things. So we'll talk about them a little bit later, but not today. But that was my mistake. Let's get into it. So first thing, I know we've been talking a lot about migration. And so we have a migration playlist on our YouTube channel, which is a really good resource to help you on your process. We recently released API token v2, which we are going to showcase. Trish is going to give us an amazing demo. We also have custom fields, really exciting feature. We're going to talk about that too. And we also had some updates, bug fixes. I know we had 4.4.1 had a security patch. So if you're not at least at 4.4.1, go ahead and make that change right now. And we're going to chat about what's new on Discord. So a lot of great stuff coming. And of course, we're going to talk about Maddie, about our community involvement, and all that great stuff. So we have made big improvements on code mods. So if you tried migration process in the past, go ahead, use code mods now. And the DB migration scripts are also considered stable now. So really, really, really good. You could check out this playlist, which I'll throw the link in the description for all the resources that we have available on YouTube. And you could also check the documentation. And if you're not a member on Discord, go ahead, join the Discord channel, because we have a specific channel for migration guides from V3 to V4, if that's something you're doing, or just join because it's a fun community to learn and work together doing cool things with Strapi. So what's new in Strapi 4.4.0? So we have API tokens version 2. And we're going to have Trish do a demo for us in just a minute, but it is pretty awesome. I'm like super excited, because if you haven't used API tokens version 1, it's either all in or nothing. Basically, you had full write access or you just had read only. And now you're able to set your access on the controller level. You could either have full access, read only, or custom, which allows you to define the things that you want to share. And you could also define token expiration. So Trish, are you ready for your demo?
I am ready. So let's
So
see what.
yeah, share your screen. We're gonna do this. This is going to be amazing.
Okay. So sharing the screen. Share. But
Okay.
wait, are you not supposed to stop sharing your screen? Okay. Okay.
Okay. We see
So
the Inception, Matrix Inception. I love it. Um, so when you're ready, oh man, that's a cool painting right there. By the way, it's pretty
yeah,
nice.
thanks.
Did you
I
see it in
love
person or is that a picture?
it's a picture, unfortunately,
Yeah,
but I will
yeah.
see it in
That's the
person.
goal, though, right? Yeah, that's the goal.
That's the
Get
goal.
over there. And
Okay.
so
So
yeah, let's make it a little bit bigger if
oh
possible.
yeah.
Because I same everybody's like, hey, Paul, your screen's too small. So you want to make sure
Okay.
that
How about now? It's okay. Yeah.
yeah, looks good. Looks good.
Okay. So okay, so I have already installed Strapi because my internet is slow. And so what I'm going to do now is open to run npm develop, and that's going to open the oh no, what's happening?
That's the
Okay.
demo god saying, hey, listen.
No, what is happening? What is happening? Okay, let me see. But I installed everything, so
Yeah.
npm.
Now, listen, the first few streams, or maybe every stream I do, there's always something that's broken. So this is kind
Oh
of like
yes.
the right of passage of trying to kind of figure stuff
Okay.
out. Uh,
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder then, because I don't know what's happening here. And
oh
so,
no, I hope it's not something
you
about Sharp. There's yeah,
know,
actually we could
it
look through the
happens.
messages because um yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
oh, hold
Okay.
on a second. Look, hold on. Zoom in your folder. With what did you call it? API demo with
Yes.
okay, that's without space. Okay, because I made a mistake before having a space. I had an issue. Um,
Oh,
yeah, interesting.
so
Uh,
yeah. So I'm going to open that new file that I created, and then open. Okay, so I don't know what happened, but then I guess it's a rite of passage.
no, listen, I'm kind of like, hey, that this is normal, but this is why we kind of work all together to kind of figure things out. Worst case scenario, it's like we learned something. That's the
Yeah.
worst case scenario.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to run npx create Strapi app at latest, and well, restart that. So
I wonder if you were you using which version of Node were you using when you're trying to run your application?
it's node 14.
Did you okay, and you had it pointed okay? Because I know I had like
Now that you say it,
yeah, I
I
would double
think.
check because maybe if you because maybe whatever issue was Sharp
Mhm.
uh, it's not working with Node 16. Maybe like I'm just gonna
Yeah, maybe I just had to change my node version. But anyway, we're learning.
no. By the way, that Sharp issue is legit. And are you using a M1 Mac? Because I think there's like something with M1 Mac that doesn't play right with some dependencies with uh, the Sharp module, and that because I had a similar issue, but it was like a while back. I don't remember how I fixed
Oh,
it, but but this is fine too. We could start it fresh and give people the view of what it's like starting a project from the
with
beginning.
Strapi. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and listen, and this is the beauty of NPX, create Strapi app at latest. Anybody could get started with Strapi instance literally quickly. But while that loads, what I could do is I could talk about the other thing first, and then we could come back to you. So that way you
Okay.
could check that it runs for sure. So let me jump in my slide. So we'll come back to API tokens for sure, because to the demo, of course. But we got,
Mhm.
because you're also going to talk about custom fields, which is pretty awesome because it allows you the opportunity to create custom fields yourself or to use custom fields created by somebody else. And I'll you could go, I'll throw this link in the chat in just a second, but you're able to go and explore all the custom fields available to get started with it. I'm kind of rushing through my slides. Let me back up a bit. Starting out right now, see, like I'm having issues with my slide presentation, but it's probably mostly on the user here. So we are excited to present 4 new custom fields. And the reason why it's 4, because we just released custom fields. So there's needs to be more to be made. And guess what? It's up to everybody in the community to come up with their own ideas of custom fields that you want to make that we'll talk about in a little bit. But right now we have the color picker, which is cool. We have the CK editor, 5 custom fields, which is pretty awesome. And I'll show you why in just a second. We have UUID field, which is a very simple custom field, but it's pretty awesome because it just creates a randomized like UIDs for you. And then we have the Shopify fields plugin that I'm not going to show you today because we're going to have the person that created the Shopify custom field do a separate stream with me to talk about it, which we'll tell you when that's happening, when it happens. It's probably going to be posted on our channel next week, but I'm excited for that. And so if you're never tried custom fields, there's literally 4 steps that you need to take to get it done. Number 1, you could go to the marketplace within Strapi or the website and search for the custom field that you want. You'll be able to click on it and get the installation command that you would run in your terminal, and you could use either yarn or npm, whatever you prefer. Once you install that custom field, you will be able to you would have to rebuild your UI and your application, and you do that by running either yarn build or npm run build. And then you literally just select the custom field you want to use and enjoy the custom field. So I'm going to switch to my Strapi project that I have running, and I followed that exact method to install this amazing color picker custom field, which allows you to create and select a color, which I think is kind of cool because I know a lot of people like to be able to change their color on the front-end application, and this literally allows you to have colors that you want to display and store in the database. Then when you call on your front end, whatever the component you decide to create, you could be like, okay, use this color that's found here that allows you to do. I mean, you could use it for lots of cool things. Now, here's another thing, and like I don't know if like I'm ashamed saying this, but this is our standard, editor, that text editor that you have, and here's some like basic options that it has, which is kind of cool. But then you have this custom field CK editor created with additional features and benefits that you could use. And the cool thing about it is, and this is why I love about Strapi, is that if someone wants to improve on something, or maybe they need, like for me, like this perfectly fine for everything that I do, this perfect standard Markdown editor for me is perfect. But if you want to add additional features or use something different, you're able to do it by creating a custom field via plugin, and you're able to use it. And that is the power of custom fields. And like, I'm really, really excited about it. And then also here's the UIID custom field that I did. Now, I didn't make it. I added it to this where you could quickly generate custom unique IDs, which is pretty awesome. And the cool part here is like, this is all available to you. Like for instance, let me create like a new collection type test. Once you installed the custom fields, that's available to you in this custom section. When you click on it, you have all the available custom fields that you have here, which is pretty awesome. And so the one thing that I really wanted to share with you, which I think is amazing, because a lot of people like, well, where can I find some more custom fields? Well, you could find them at our Strapi marketplace, and you could search for stuff. For instance, I could search color picker, and here's the custom field. And what you could do is you could follow the instructions, basically running yarn add to add it to your code base, and you're basically ready to use it. But here's the thing that I want to share with all of you is, some of you might be like, well, I want to have my own version of custom fields. And, you could get started. I'll share a link, or if someone can, for the documentation of getting started with how do you create your own custom field. And to be honest, I didn't know how to do that. So this is what I did. I went to the GitHub of this gentleman, Hansa Kata, and I can't pronounce the names. I apologize, really bad. But I literally went to the code base, And what's cool, actually, I just learned this from Derek. Derek, thank you so much. If you hit the period button in your GitHub browser, it will open. It will. I'm just laughing because I was so blown away by this that I'm still like blown away by this. But you could open the code base and take a look at it and look at the code. And for example, you could see the structure of the script, the code. You could look at the examples. Did I open the right one? I don't think I opened the right one. Plugins. Okay, no, I opened the right one. We need to go into plugins. But here's the thing that I want to show here. Let me go back here. Go back here. And what I did is plugins, color picker. You literally could explore the code. And if you're familiar with our plugin development, it's the same. It's literally what you're doing is you're creating a plugin and you're able to hook in to add the custom field within your code. And so if you're not sure where to start, literally you could look at our documentation or download this GitHub or any custom field that you like and go to the code and kind of see like, okay, what did they do? How did they do it? Like, what is the index file does? And you could kind of look at it. And in that documentation, you kind of will see this exact thing. Well, this is how you register your custom field to show up in your admin UI. And so use examples in code, use the documentation. And so you could start this trial and error process of trying to things out. And I think it's a cool way to learn. And I literally built my first custom field that I'm not going to showcase here because it was kind of silly. Maybe I should have, but I created a custom field that basically doesn't matter what you type, will show you a Rick roll video. But then I realized that's not a useful custom field to have. So I kind of was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. So anyway, that's on custom fields. So Trish, are you ready again to go and experience what it's like to give live demos? And more power to you. And like, listen, everybody go back, watch the first 5 streams I did. They all failed at demos miserably. All demos failed.
Oh, you saved their ass, Paul, this time. But yeah.
No, oh my gosh. Like the demos I had, and I would like be sweating. I'm white, like more white than I am. It was like ridiculous. I was like, and I'm frozen. So like the struggle is real, Trish. So we got this. We're going to do this together.
Yeah.
We make this happen.
So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
I know. Derek said I could have rickrolled the community. Man, I need to work on my confidence to put stuff out there in public more. Maybe we'll surprise them because you could hide that somewhere. That's going to happen.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly create a content type. I'm going to put name as name, and then the other one as code name. Finish and save that. So we have a content type called Marvel. And so because I love Marvels, I love Marvel stuff. So
who's the greatest Marvel superhero ever?
Wait, you're asking me now?
Oh,
I have to think about it.
Go.
Okay,
I asked that question to somebody. They're like, Batman. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? Although Batman is pretty cool. But I was like, man, that's a major red flag. If you ask someone they love Marvel and they say Batman is their favorite superhero, it's like, but Batman is good.
That's a fake fan right there. Okay, let me create the second one. Bonnie. Miss Marvel. And save, publish that. Okay, and so my content is published and saved. And so now we're going to go to API tokens, and we're going to generate a new token, and I'm going to give it a name of Marvel. Of Marvel, and description is I love Marvel. Yep. And then so what I like about this new version 2 for API tokens is that you can set the token duration. So this is like a great thing for security so that you can set when you want your token to be invalid. So I'm going to set mine on 30 days. And then the content type, the token type will be custom. So at least now we have more control on how much a user can access through our tokens. And so the first one, I'm going to do a find one, and I'm going to save that. And I'm going to copy that and go back to my code editor. And so what I'm using to make, let me see. So what I'm going to use is Rapid API to make the request to Strapi server. Let me just close that. And so what I love about Rapid API is that you can save the name of the thing you're testing. And so I'll just do that, and I'm going to go to auth, better paste that, and not to forget to copy the, save, I forgot to save. So going to type http /local hosts. Is it /? Oh no, 133.137 API /marbles. Okay, let's see if that works. I think the screen is too big, so I'll just do that. And let's send the request. Oh no. What did I do? Okay, so I think there's something wrong. HTTP localhost. Okay. Yeah,
Did you do find one? Because find one, I think you need to provide by ID.
Oh yeah, I did find one.
Yeah, if you do find, then it will be all the other ones. That's fine.
Okay, so yes, find one. It's
right there.
It's
there. It's all works.
Yeah, so it all works. So find one, it's bringing the second ID, which is Miss Marvel. So this works well. And so let's see if I can do find ID number 1, and it brings Carol Danvers. So I already tested out the second feature. So if you set it to find one, you'll be able to only get it's only going to return one object. And so let's change the settings and do find, so I can find all of them, and I'll save that. And then I'm going to remove the ID number 1 and send that, and it returns both of those IDs. So that's awesome. And another thing is, if it happens that you lose your API, your token.
Yep.
If it happens that you lose your token, you can be able to regenerate that. So that's a nice feature as well. And so you can regenerate that, copy, save, and let's paste that again. So the settings are still the same. So it's still find and find one. And I'll go back and send, and it still works. And so that is the demo for API tokens, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.
No, that was awesome. Like, thank you so much. And listen, demo gods do exist. And if you don't pray to them at least 3 times a day, they're going to bite you in the butt. But the cool thing about with all these new features, it gives you the flexibility to use Strapi the way you want. And one thing that people have to understand, the API tokens don't replace user permissions. And so, for certain use cases, it makes sense to continue to use that, where for other cases, if you're talking to other APIs or some other requests that you're making, where using a token makes sense as well. So please keep that in mind when you're working with stuff. They all have their reasons why they are there. And also, next, let's quickly move forward, because I want to get through a lot of stuff, and I want to talk with Maddie about...
I just want to say one thing, Paul. I wouldn't recommend showing your API key on the stream right in the open, to be honest. But yeah, if you have your own project, of course, be very careful where you show this API key. That's also why it's shown only once, because then it's hashed and never seen it before. So make sure you go securely handle those credentials.
Yes, that's why Trish created a new Strapi application that she's going to delete right after this, so you don't have to worry about it. Like, for instance, I wouldn't show my project with that custom API unless I really wanted to be in trouble.
Nothing to worry for now, but just
like my password, monkey1234 to my all my important accounts.
Exactly.
Exactly. Don't share that. Super important. So Another thing that we are working on, I just wanted to quickly share here, because we were talking about roadmaps. There's a bunch of stuff happening, but in terms of give us a preview, what will be coming in 4.5.0 is we're moving relations or improving relationships. Before you kind of had them in the right column here, and some people were kind of like, it's not really convenient. And so now we're going to move it to the main section like you see here. And so I'm really excited. Can't wait for that to come out when the time comes. So looking forward for that. And then real important announcement. We did have, and I forgot who commented on the security issue. Thank you for that. If someone wants to give the credit where it's due, you can do it in the comments. But thank you for pointing out. Derek went ahead and fixed it. So very important announcement here. If you're not on 4.4.1, at least go ahead and make sure you update your Strapi application to at least be this latest version. And also, yes, you could come test out the beta. I didn't prepare the link to that if that is available already. That's my fault. But I see JS saying Derek fixing security issues by night because he's a superhero. That's exactly true. So next, guest time. I'm so excited. So we have Maddie here. Let's chat about being part of the community and how you could get involved. But before we do that, let me remove this screen so we have everybody's beautiful face here. And Maddie, can you just tell us about when you got involved with the community and why you got involved in the community?
Oh, wow.
Tough questions, I know.
It's going back a while. That's the thing here. I think, as I just said before,
memory lane.
Yeah, I think I joined. Then we still had the Slack. Then I joined, or I was using Strapi.
Oh wow! Yeah.
In the alpha days, so that's a long time gone. And around beta, I became more and more active in Slack. And sometimes I have had like a competition with Derek, who could answer first the questions there and snipe those questions. But yeah, I just rolled into it. I enjoyed using Strapi first of all, and I just wanted to help people out. And I just got hooked on learning new stuff. I think by just looking at questions and knowing that they helping people to point them to the right direction, to documentation, to files, or to guides. But sometimes, yeah, I knew that there was no resource, no content about it, so I just dived into the code, and I think that just got me hooked, learning more and more and being more active. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Were you a Strapi expert when you joined the community? I just want to know.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked this is because a lot, like this was a thing for me, and this is why I brought it up, is because I felt like I wasn't ready to be part of the community because I didn't feel like I knew enough about Strapi. And that's the biggest like misconception, and don't think like that at all. And so with that being said, can you talk about how did you learn more about the Strapi? I know you talked about looking into the code. Can you just describe that journey? So for a lot of us, we might know this, but for some of us, we just think we just need to know everything. But no, there's a process. Everybody starts from day one. Like when I first started answering questions on Discord, it would be like the easiest things, like what today's date? It's Friday. I know the answer to that one. Okay, next question. So can you tell us about that?
Well, it's great you actually ask or are saying like how I joined, but I guess I think I initially joined as well to ask a question on Slack. And to be honest, I had two questions, pretty big ones, but they were never answered. So that's, I think, what got triggered me to learn more and more about it. But yeah, how do you start with that? I think because I was there looking for my own answers and just saw small questions, of course, that I knew. So then I just answered them. I'm not sure. And it really probably did start with like small things. Like most of the questions, or a lot of the times, the questions, you can help people just pointing them to documentation, because there is already a lot of content out there. Just knowing what's everything is in the documentation, or just reading globally through the documentation or other stuff or guides. I think this way you can improve, like grow your own Strapi knowledge, but also be reminded of where to find it. And to be honest, sometimes I still look up the documentation. If I would build a custom fields, I definitely go to the documentation. Sometimes I even for the filters, and I still look up the REST API documentation. But I know all the resources that are out there, and that's, I think, how you can learn and grow in that. And then sometimes it's not in the documentation, so let's start somewhere in the code base. Let's just search for the thing, maybe a class name, maybe a file name, maybe a function name, and then use your references within your editor to quickly navigate through, go a step back or deeper, and then sometimes you learn how to weigh where the problem is or where to customize something. But doing it step by step, I think something. But also in the end, I don't have an exact answer. I just need to do it, and
that is the answer. This is what a lot of people have to understand to demystify the process. It's literally going on your own learning journey, and you will struggle a little bit through it, and little by little, you're going to start like figuring things out, and then you're going to have answers for people that are a little bit less knowledgeable than you. And before you know it, through your experience of looking to the code, trying things out, failing, learning, building things, now your experience get higher and higher. Now you're able to answer more questions. And by the way, with that being said, if you're not on Discord, on Strapi Discord, that's one number reason to join. That's the first step. You want to get involved in the community, you could join Discord. Yes, you could look at the code base, definitely look at the code, look at the issues that are available, see something that resonates with you. And you might not, here's the thing, you might not be able to answer and solve an issue, but it shouldn't stop you from diving into the code base and exploring it, right? And the cool thing about the Strapi Discord, we started doing once a month, only on Discord, is our Strapi development best practices, where we dive deep into the Strapi code base, talk about more intermediate advanced concepts to talk about best practices and development Strapi, which is amazing and a lot of fun. And just like Maddie said, it's just like you just need to jump in and start doing it. And to his point, I had fear stop me from getting involved sooner than I did. And so now that I've been in the community for a little bit, like I find myself over time answering more complex questions, because as I interact with the community more on our forum, our documentation, Strapi, Discord, my knowledge base grows and I'm able to help more people. And that's how we all help everybody get better. And I just want to say, you talking about using the documentation, I don't think there's anybody on earth that doesn't use our documentation, even on their team. Like I see Derek reference documentation. I reference documentation all the time. It's literally there to help you. And the fact that you have to reference that documentation doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. It just means that you need a resource to help you, because there's too much stuff to remember. We can't all remember everything. You know what I mean?
That's it. You're being smart about what's in there, and you know where it is, so you can reference it if you need. And I just want to go on with your saying about joining the Discord, and now we have the new feature where we have posts like a forum, and I think that easily helps, so you can see through the help questions all coming in, and also if you're learning, maybe there are some interesting topics, you can hit subscribe, and you'll get every notification for that thread. So you'll see if there are new messages, or if the solution, or put on like the eyes emoji, or and whenever if you say, let me help you and see, you can always, jump out of it. Like say, I don't have any time right now anymore. And nobody is entitled to help somebody. No one is entitled to get an answer. It's all community driven, and so I think that also helps with if you want to learn more or have questions.
Here's another thing to that. So some people will be like, well, I don't know enough about Strapi to, contribute to the code base or work on some of the issues. What you could do is, by the way, will help everybody, not just you, but you could actually, when you find something in our documentation that doesn't make sense and you want some clarification, or you feel there's some change in the documentation that's going to make it more useful, make an issue for that, right? Help us improve the documentation as well, because, there's a lot of stuff, things constantly change and evolve. We have a lot of people, we have people working the documentation, but sometimes it's hard for everybody to be on point of everything. And so that's one way for the community to get involved, especially if you're a beginner, and to kind of have a way to give back, even though you might not be, comfortable with the code base yet. And it's pretty awesome, pretty good to kind of, go ahead and get started that way. And I use the documentation. Here's another example. So when I first got hired at Strapi, I didn't know anything about plugin developments, but our initiative for that, quarter was to promote plugin development. So I literally went through the process of learning how to build my own plugin. It was hard at first. I worked through the process. I looked at the documentation. I asked questions on Discord. And my first plugin, I built a to-do plugin, and everyone's like, it's a to-do plugin, but it's a great way to start. And by the way, if anybody wants to get into Strapi and you're like, but I don't want to really dive into the core of Strapi yet, but I want to get involved, start by building a plugin. That's another place for you to get started. And I'll share that course that you could check out in the comments. But what's cool about it, if you know basic understanding of plugin development, like you could then start building custom fields as well, because a custom field is actually a plugin that just hooks in and is displayed where you have the fields in your admin panel. And you could see in the documentation, how you could target that, but it's literally same, almost identical structure to building plugins. Yep. And so that's a great place to start. So what do you recommend for people like trying to dive into like plugin development or exploring that avenue? Do you have any tips or something that you feel?
Well,
I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead,
no worries. It's an important link there now.
Yeah, share those links, Trish. We need them. Let's put it there.
I think plugin development in general, it might be a good experience to learn a bit more about the layout, the structure, how to customize things. I think that's an important one, but still within a plugin, so it's easily manageable. You're not diving into overriding code, that you need to maintain every update or so, but you have a dedicated plugin where you can have some customizations, build some custom services. Maybe, it might even be a subscribe endpoint where you can send your email to and you will put on the mail list, that could even be a custom plugin with just one endpoint, and then you have the idea of how to make a custom route, a custom controller, maybe a custom service to integrate with MailChimp or whatever. So plugins is definitely a good way to also learn how to better understand Strapi and the structure and the customization of it. But if you think that's too big of a step, I think there are still steps in between, right? That you just mentioned. Reporting issues is also some way of contributing. Just make sure you fill out the issue template, otherwise.
Oh yes, please. Let's talk about that first. That's
important. But
let's talk about that. If there's an issue template, I'm just saying. I'm not saying any one of you did this. I'm just gonna throw it out there. You pull up the issue template, and the first thing you do is do Command A, Control A, whatever it is to select, and you delete it, and then you write a bunch of stuff that does not follow the template. Is that the right way to submit issues, Maddie? Please give us an answer so we all know, because if you've seen our issues, once in a while, there'll be their own template that they created.
Yeah. To be honest, I cannot really even understand you're making yourself harder to make you build your own issue template there. But yeah, for the love of God, please use the template that's just being used there. Otherwise, and there's also something from the Strapi team or anybody that's reviewing issues. It just makes it harder to work through. So just, if you have an issue, make it simple. Paul was making it way too big here. But if you have an issue, just make sure you report during the following the template, and then also make sure you're very clear about what the issue is and what you're expecting or how to reproduce, with just clear step. More steps is better than less. So, but you throw me off a little bit there about exaggerating this issue. But it happens a lot, and sometimes you cannot understand.
What are you trying to imply here, Maddie? That I exaggerate things? No, I just know I was that guy at some point. I just know I was that guy. I made that thing, and then I'm like, no one's responding to my issue request. Maybe because I didn't do it the appropriate way. And it's just not and again, you're right. I am taking out of the proportion, but it's like, follow the steps because they're there to make it easier for you to submit issues and for us to be able to respond to them appropriately. Yeah.
Yeah. So just going back there. So if you're thinking plugin development or custom fields as way out of my league. Let me just start with learning more. And marking issues is also seeing what are capabilities within Strapi or what are things that still looks for. And if you're confident with submitting issues, or maybe you see some documentation missing and you know how it works, definitely go for it. And there's even on every documentation, there's a link all the way at the bottom that will say like improve this page. It's a quick link that will create a PR for that specific page. You can edit it instantly, and you don't even need to clone the code to your local and open it in your editor. You can just edit the documentation in your browser and just start writing a little bit more documentation that is missing, or that are also ways to build up to building plugins. And even if you're more confident, you could take a look at like GitHub issues. We don't have there's not really like an easy label, but hopefully that will come soon.
Yeah.
But you can maybe look at like the low severity tickets that are often not that hard of like an effort, but still Strapi is not looking at it because it's low. It's affecting just a couple of users. So that you're confident you can pick up those issues, or start writing content. That's also another thing. You can write content for the community. There's a write for the community program if you
Yeah,
want to write
exactly.
tutorials or blog. So there's whole kinds of stuff, from being in a Discord answering questions, or building plugins, and or even very complicated plugins or packages. There's a whole spectrum what you can all do to be there in the community and work on it. And I think everything is appreciated in its own way. Yeah,
Exactly. So
definitely.
the point, like Maddie and I are trying to make, is that there's many ways to get started with a community. You don't have to think I need to go big or go home. It's no, do a little bit, and then you will improve. And like I said, when I first started, I had fear hold me back from engaging the community because I literally felt like I didn't know enough. And then I realized there's always somebody that is less knowledgeable than I am that could get some help from some of the answers that I give. And so it really helps the community. And by the way, if you look into find some resources when it comes to plugin, like our documentation, I would say is always resource number one, because we use it, our developers use it to reference it. It is there literally to help us. But sometimes I know documentation could be intimidating, especially if you started out. So you need some guided courses. So I would say we do have on our channel, we have our Next.js and Strapi course, which walks you how to set up Strapi and a Next.js project. Great playlist, check it out. I should have pulled it up, but I didn't. Then we also have this plugin course that I created while learning how to do plugins, which is great foundation and fundamentals. And like I said, if you go through this, you will know enough to, when you reference the documentation, things are going to make more sense to you. I'll share the link. And if you're a real beginner, there's like a lot of stuff on our website. But one thing that I just recently did, because I always love to check out content created by other folks. So Art Coded has a course on Strapi where he talks about creating your Strapi project, and he talks about every feature that we have available, including he even walks you through creating your own plugin. So it covers a lot of great stuff. If you could take a look, talks about the basic introduction, design Strapi content types, talks about authentication, authorization, how to work, talks about like working with REST API, talks about working with GraphQL, which I was very surprised in this code. He also talked about how to extend your GraphQL with custom resolvers, and he did a really good job. And, he talks about customizing Strapi admin and finishes this with like plugin development. And this whole course is all about Strapi. So it's phenomenal place, and I highly recommend. I just want to shout out this creator, because it is an amazing course. So if anybody's just starting out, it's a great resource to use. Let's see here. Let me stop sharing my screen, and then. What else, Maddie? What can we add? I think you had really good gems for people to kind of get excited and get involved.
Yeah, I'm like, there's a lot of things that, but I just maybe we'll look a little bit at like the the spectrum of like doing a lot of complicated stuff, like on a technical level,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or maybe like custom fields. That's something, I think that's
Oh,
I muted myself.
that's
I
okay.
mentioned like building a simple subscribe plugin where you have like a one endpoint, but that's very simple plugin, right? But if you want to step it up a level, custom fields, I think there are still a lot of ideas on what you can make for custom fields. Maybe like a slider or
Yeah,
other fields like currencies or like a bank account that needs to follow a specific format, and where regex is not enough, or other stuff, ranges, daytime ranges instead of just one date. There are a lot of fields that could help. Still the community, and I think will easily be adopted in some way by the community. And if you go on it and you build a very complicated plugin, or you're very dedicated to building packages. You mentioned you want to talk a little bit about the Strapi Stars program. I think I'm not sure if
yeah.
that's something to mention here, and
No,
that's
definitely. Let's go into it.
so if you are very motivated to do a lot of stuff there, building plugins and or um, being out there in the community, write a lot of stuff, or very contributing on a big scale. I think Strapi is also there to help you and support you in such a way. And there's a Strapi Stars program. I'm not sure about how the selection goes for that. That's on you guys. But yeah, it definitely shows that Strapi is willing to help you and support you with resources, how to learn and grow better, how to maintain stuff. Yeah.
So, talking about like how does the Strapi Star program works, but in the most general sense, it's seeing who is, like you said, passionate about strapping and who has been actively contributing to the project in various ways, and that's the important part. So, like, it's like Strapi Star. It's like being a Marine or Navy SEAL or whatever. Like example, it's like you're up there, right? But you earned it because of the work that you do. So it's something that, I mean, it's something that you would strive towards. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm not on a Strapi Star program. And I agree with that decision, because if I look at what Maddie has done and what I have done, I'm still in I have a long way to go. But the point is, the goal is like a good goal to have, to be involved in the community, continue to contribute, to grow. It just is such a good feeling towards being part of something that your work has impacted.
Yeah.
And that in itself is like a good, yeah.
I wouldn't say like the goal should be that you are becoming a star, but I just
Right.
wanted to mention, that they're, from what I've, first of all, I was just doing it because I liked it. I was passionate about it, and then being noticed by Strapi, also getting like the appreciation back, and I think that's something that Strapi always is, finding a way in. But there's definitely, there is support from Strapi, the team, as well, for everybody that wants to contribute away. And as Derek just mentioned in the chat, I think if you make a PR for the documentation, the documentation team will literally love you, but any contribution is welcome to the community in a whole. And I think doing it will grow yourself, and sometimes it will surprise you about how many people you are helping. You can make a simple package, a simple plugins, and maybe have like 100 or even 1,000 downloads in a couple of weeks. It's something that you didn't even expect. So the appreciation will definitely come. I know for sure. And otherwise, just hook me up and I'll say that you're doing great if you need to hear that in some way. But yeah, it's also about giving back, and becoming more and bigger within the community, for sure.
Yeah, and I always want to shout out Derek, because he's silently in the comments answering all the hard questions. We appreciate you, Derek. With that being said, Derek is also the one who does the monthly Strapi Best Practices AMA, and he's also on Discord. So here's the news about Discord. I keep forgetting. So 2 things we're doing, and we're going to have more. But if you're not on Discord, this should alone be user. Number 1, we have Monday through Fridays, open hours. We start at 12 p.m. Central Time, because both Derek and I are in US. And Derek is there. I'm there. We're chatting. We're answering questions. So it's a great place to participate, ask some questions, and talk about things like we're doing in the comments. Another one is that every 3rd week of the month, we have our Strapi Best Practices event, which, like I mentioned before, is diving to deeper intermediate, more advanced topics of Strapi to help everybody understand the code base on a deeper level. And the plan is, the tide raises all the ships, whatever that saying is. I'm really bad with sayings. Like the bird that in my hand is two in a window. I don't know how that goes. But the point is, it's like the point is that we're creating things to help everybody grow. So take advantage of that Discord. So any parting words, Maddie, before, because I know we're like 50 minutes in, so we're getting that to that 1 hour mark. Before we make any final announcements, any last words of wisdom or anything that you want to say before we go?
Well, let me plug the community organization here. I think it's still like
yes.
in
Oh
the
my
baby
gosh.
steps here.
I knew I invited you for a reason, because you're hitting all the important things that I forgot about. Yes.
No worries.
Please.
Then,
No.
so
Let's add 10
let me
more
quickly
minutes.
introduce, and it's still a little bit like it's like in the baby shoes. It's still growing, and we're I think still figuring out how it works. But the general idea is that there is an organization, or mainly a GitHub organization, and that's a group of guys um, who are very passionate about Strapi, and I think it's focused on growing and maintaining community packages. I think that's the way, and we're still figuring out a little bit of stuff there. But if you have trouble with maintaining a package, or wanna get some more questions, I would say just go into the community org channel in the Discord and just hit us up. And we want to help you. We want to help people that don't have time anymore to maintain packages. And we don't want that packages are out there and just are going to get lost in some way. And also we want to encourage you to build new plugins and packages. And I think we have a budget for that, but that's something we're still figuring out for that. But yeah.
No, this is great you brought up. Let me ask you, is it part of Strapi, this organization?
No. Yeah,
exactly.
we have nothing official. This is only community members only.
But this is where I think it's amazing, is because as a community, you have an organization where you have a voice that's not influenced by people that work at Strapi. You know what I mean? And that's amazing to me. Like the fact that you're doing good things, you're doing your thing, and you are your own organization. And to me, like, it's amazing that we could do that.
Yeah. And I'm saying, if you go to the GitHub organization, Derek is still on there, but that's just being practical. We need to figure it out. But the idea is, that we are independent next to Strapi, and exactly also be a voice. Maybe get some way of getting people out there that want to speak up regarding of the community, because from the community. Derek has no votes at all. But, it's still a little bit figuring out there, and. Also on like the practical side and the commitment from the leads at the moment. So you are interested in like contributing to as a maintainer of our package, or if you want to contribute your time as a lead, definitely hit us up in the channel. And there's still a lot of things to discuss there. And again, this is something for the community. In the end.
And I know you're gonna bring up Hacktoberfest. It's a thing.
Oh yeah, as well.
We're still planning. I
was actually going to bring that up as well, because Matthias actually mentioned some points that could help beginners who want to contribute to our repo. And thank you for bringing it up.
Well, Maddie was gonna bring it up first, and then with all these amazing opportunities, now I'm reminding Maddie to be like, hey, let's talk about it. Because the one thing that I want to say is, like, we don't have something like super official. We're like, keep an eye open. We're definitely gonna come up with an initiative, but just the idea of it is pretty cool. And so can you just talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I think Hacktoberfest, as you say, is always in October every year. And I think, I'm not sure what number of edition it is this year, but the idea is to drive and motivate people to contribute to open source. And that can indeed be code, but also documentation and content. And the idea is that you could sign up to Hacktoberfest, look through repositories, and I would encourage you to do it for any open source. Not even specifically Strapi, but any open source project is open who probably needs help. Every open source project. So just look out there, and Hacktoberfest, I think, is an easy way to motivate you. You can get an awesome badge. You can even get send a T-shirt if you want. I got one from a previous edition. And the idea is just get out there in a fun way, because that's in the end is very important. Having fun, contributing in a way, and also maybe a competition way. Making it
Yeah.
competitive. And so Hacktoberfest, definitely check it out. You can either sign up with GitHub, and also, as Paul was saying, hopefully Strapi will push out something, an
Yeah, we're
official
still
initiative.
thinking. And by the way, in the comments or in Discord, let us know like some ideas that you have, some things. We're thinking something maybe around like custom fields. We're still thinking about what that would look like. But if you have cool ideas, or maybe like first good issues or something, like let us know. We definitely want to hear from you as a community. And I know we're like really getting on time, so I'm gonna quickly kind of like finish up. Usually we do like a community showcase where we talk about a cool plugin we have. Sometimes we do a demo of it, or a cool article or resource that you have. For today, I'm literally going to shout out all the amazing new custom fields that were added. And listen, this is a great way, like to try something new, build a custom field, build a plugin. We have resources on documentation, but also join us on the Discord for questions and answers. Really awesome. And then we just want to promote, we have some events coming up on the 14th. There's going to be Let's Talk About Composability with Daniel, Trish, and Tim. So that's a great event to check out. Next, we have, if you don't know that I'm obsessed with Remix, I love Remix. Remix is awesome. I've been doing a lot of my initial, like all my projects now are Remix on the front end. And so can't see that's going to be here. I'm so excited. Like I'm a big fan, probably like unnecessary, so like obsessed about it, but whatever. He's going to be here. We're going to talk about building better websites with Remix, more talking about what's new with Remix, what's happening. And then I'm going to also show my project, which uses Remix and Strapi, and how awesome it was. And then we had an amazing turnout. Our last, I couldn't fit all the people on the screen. There was like bajillion people. Literally bajillion means over 30 people, if you're wondering, that participated in our Strapi Dev Best Practices. It's held every third week of every month. So the next one is on Wednesday, the 19th of this month, October, 1 p.m. US Central Time. And that's Discord only. So join Discord to jump in and see that. And we're going to do more stuff because we want to continue to grow the community. But before we end this, the last thing I want to say is thank you to all the wonderful people in the community that are participating in the comments, or just part of the Strapi community, you doing things. We really appreciate you because you help us continue to do the things that we do. So thank you so much. And I know sometimes like people have their own opinions and feedback, but I just want to say everybody on Strapi, no one shows up to work to be like, what can we do today to make Strapi worse off that the community is going to be mad at us? We're all human beings that do our best at our work to get there, to do what we can. And what helps us is, you, the community, to listening to feedback and learning together and growing. So thank you for that. Also, thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Trish, for joining us. Maddie, thank you for all those amazing feedback. You could find Maddie on our Discord. He also is on Twitter, which is amazing if you like to do that Twitter thing. Trish, before we go, tell us about what you do on Twitter for Strapi. I think it's amazing, and you've been getting amazing engagement.
Okay, so we are having Twitter Spaces, and yesterday we had a Twitter Space about job hunting, and a lot of positive and valuable stories and advice was given to us yesterday. So do make sure that you keep on the lookout on our Twitter Spaces, and you can also hop in and share your own points. And every story is valuable. And so again, next week, we actually do have an AMA with open source CEOs. So if you do have any questions for CEOs from Medusa, Nuxt Labs, and Mealy Search, I hope I'm saying that
awesome.
right.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Strapi's own CEO. Please do make sure that you join us next week, Tuesday, 5 p.m. CET. And looking forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Yeah,
Nice.
they'll be awesome, amazing. Thank you for that, Trish. And I just want to say thank you to Derek again. Marco was jumped in here. He was in the comments, and the whole Strapi team. I mean, love everybody. So thank you for that. Wherever you are, have a great day, evening. If it's nighttime and you're not sleeping, probably should sleep. I'm sorry, but thank you for joining us, and we'll see everybody on the next community call. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Trecia. Thanks, Paul. Bye, guys.